once again to do justice to some pertinent issues with regard to the former President John Dramani Mahama's so-called Ghana at a Crossroad lectures held at Kpogli Hotel on Monday, the 2nd of May, 2022. The Kpogli event, which seeks to draw light on the supposed crossroad that the country is currently actually exposed, the former president's nakedness. Indeed, Mr. Mahama succeeded in dancing naked in front of the intelligent Ghanaian public by the swipe he took at His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's government on what he termed as politicization of independent state institution and dismissal of those who dare to ensure what is right. Even the attacks on President Akufo-Addo's economic policy was such a surreal mix of myth and fantasy. Mr. Mahama practically gaslighted himself and sounded terribly in touch with his self-serving inner self. He just plucked another dead cat in front of a public to get outraged about. Hear him, hear the former president. And I quote, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and his head of economic management team rather appallingly remain nonchalant in the face of this serious crisis and have limited their response to imposition of very harsh regressive tax measures, one of which is e-levy, which has been roughly rejected by the people of Ghana. Unquote. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, how utterly shameful for the former President John Dramani Mahama tried to compare his failed administration, and indeed an incompetent administration in the history of Ghana politics, to Akufo-Addo's one. We are not really surprised by Mahama's callous attempt to try and take positive credit out of a current, and I quote, current global economic crisis and put post-pandemic economic vulnerabilities, and attempt to present himself as a credible alternative indeed. He is obviously looking for an endorsement within the NDC as a result of a looming tsunami of leadership struggle within the NDC, and he wants to make himself relevant. However, for John Dramani Mahama to hold a public lecture to boast about his governance prowess, when we all know that he dished out 4 years as a president, says a lot about his split personality. The simple truth is that Mahama has just exposed himself to public ridicule. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, we are all in this country and witness the presidency of John Dramani Mahama. I hope we are not all strangers. We all saw what happened under his watch. We all saw highs and lows of the accidental president and his lack of obvious know-how as a leader. When Mahama was confronted with challenges in his government at the height of his administration, he infamously compared himself to a dead goat, saying, and I quote, "I have seen more demonstrations and strikes in my first 2 years, and I don't think it will get worse. It is said that when you kill a goat and you frighten it with a knife, it doesn't fear the knife because it is dead already. And I have a dead goat syndrome," unquote. And I hope most journalists remember this. In fact, the height of Mahama's incompetence was displayed at the highest level and so embarrassing to the people of Ghana when he vented his frustration at the 2015 ECOWAS summit, where he complained about his missing speech. And I quote, "Where is my missing speech? I am missing certain pages in my speech," unquote. He said openly in the full glare of the ECOWAS publics. John Mahama, who many people say came into politics by accident, happened to be the worst ever president in the history of Ghana since independence. When the then Vice President John Dramani Mahama became President of Ghana by default on 24 July 2012, not many people consider him presidential material enough to lead Ghana's quest for full middle income status J. Kofi has bequeathed us. Having attained the rank of lower middle income during the J. Kofi's era, Ghana with a large and rising middle class estimated at over 47% of the population at that time, was yearning to transit to full middle income status. Due to the effort of Kofi's regime, the country has shown progress in reducing poverty, and it's outshrunk its peers on most measures of human development. But Mahama's incompetence leadership denied Ghana the much needed respite for economic emancipation. Even former President Jerry John Rawlings, may his soul rest in peace, the man who founded the National Democratic Congress, and that the man who gave Mahama his first government job as a deputy minister and later full minister, publicly expressed a lack of faith in Mahama's ability to steer the ship of the state at that time. So, Ghana, and I ask this question in a rhetorical way, is Ghana really at a crossroads? Ghana under Mahama faced multiple problems of rising cost of living, and I hope most Ghanaians are aware, and I don't want to elaborate. Collapsing businesses, an unsustainable national debt, a lack of inclusive economic growth to address unemployment, poor infrastructure, and rising fiscal and balance payment deficit. The fundamental truth here is that the former President John Dramani Mahama is not an alternative to solve Ghana's problems. The man doesn't even have a single solution to the country's problem. Mahama is just a desperate leader who wants to rule the country again, hence his penchant of making false claims of having all answers to the country's problems. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, it is a trite knowledge that Mr. Mahama lost 2016 election due to his mismanagement of the country's economy, which resulted in worsening plight of the ordinary Ghanaian people. It is also known as a fact that Mr. Mahama has nothing to offer except to draw back the country's progress if Ghanaians mistakenly give him power again. That is, if the NDC elect him as their flag bearer. Isn't it intriguing that whereas Mr. Mahama is claiming to have solution to the country's unemployment situation, it was during his tenure as the leader of this country that the country witnessed the formation of the Unemployed Graduate Association. And I'm sure most of the journalists are aware. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, John Dramani Mahama's loutish behavior and name calling has actually given true meaning of the adage, and I quote, "If you want to dismiss a fool, promote him." Unquote. We are talking about a man who claimed to have the interests of the poor at heart, and yet he never introduced any pro-poor policy intervention during his administration as the President of the Republic of Ghana. And we are daring the NDC and Mahama and his colleagues to come out and tell us one pro-poor policy that he was able to introduce. On top of my head, I can mention about 3 from the MPP. Interestingly, Mahama and his opposition NDC has been fighting all social intervention policies introduced under the various MPP administrations, including the Free SHS, the Livelihood Empowerment Against Poverty, LEAP, and the National Health Insurance, and of course, the National ID that became a fiasco under Mills Mahama's administration. And you are all aware. Today, Ghanaians can boast of a national identity. The noise and the so-called alternative solution that Mahama claims to have are a ruse just to scheme to get power in order to come back to continue his mismanagement and the usual plutocracy under Mahama. The problem with Mahama and his disillusionist enablers who are on this path is that they are under a false impression that Ghanaians has weak memories. He told Ghanaians that Ghanaians are short memories. Other than that, he wouldn't have that shenanigans to come and tell Ghanaians that he had the magic wand to deal with the Ghanaian economy. President Akufo-Addo, over the last 5 years, has expanded the Ghanaian economy and is doing more to build a better society. Take, for instance, the Akufo-Addo's management of COVID-19. And ladies and gentlemen of the press, we want to use it as a case study. When a pandemic hit the whole world, and the whole world was like nightfall in Soweto. If you have read that book, Nightfall in Soweto, nobody knows what tomorrow brings. The positive appraisal by the World Health Organization as against Mahama's by Akufo-Addo administration, World Health Organization praising Akufo-Addo administration as against Mahama's mismanagement of cholera outbreak, common cholera outbreak in 2014. Can Ghanaians be informed of the measures instituted by John Dramani Mahama during the almighty doomsday that find itself in the Wikipedia? And Ghana has become a subject of ridicule because of certain incompetent leadership of John Dramani Mahama. Today, doomsday has found itself in a Wikipedia which describe a weak leadership of somebody who couldn't manage power crisis in this country. Again, what exactly did Mahama's so-called COVID-19 advisory team did help during the crisis? We saw it when Akufo-Addo said we should go and stay home and close all doors and make sure that we don't go anywhere. They kicked against it. When Ghanaian students were far away somewhere, Okujeto Ablakwa came out that we should bring them back. When Akufo-Addo issued a statement that students should go back to school, they kicked against that. So one would have thought if these people were managing COVID-19, just suppose that to doomsday economy. And you will know, under Mahama, Ghana experienced the worst crisis in the history of Ghana. When there were no war, no pandemic, Ghana was low, at the lowest point of economic management. Indeed, the doomsday crisis actually crippled Ghanaian economy for 4 years. Businessmen have to move their money out of this country. Hopelessness was the order of the day under his watch, and there was not a single mitigating measures to deal with the individual crisis. People were dying in hospitals. Doctors were confused when it comes to the height of even doing a common operation for patients to survive. I can name different scenarios for you here. Personally, I have a personal experience. My uncle died because of doomsday. He was rushed to Sundresu Hospital, and on the way back to Convener Hospital, he died because of doomsday. So some of us, we feel it. We don't have short memories, like what Mahama himself is talking about. Other than that, he wouldn't have that audacity, that effrontery to come and stand before the people of Ghana that he has the magic wand to rule this country. Ladies and gentlemen, so you see, Ghana is not at a crossroad after all. So who is telling the truth? When we play back his leadership at that time, the president will continue to respect, and I mean President Akufo-Addo will continue to respect the dignity of the people of Ghana. He will continue to push for substantial changes to the world financial architecture so we can also help our people out of distress. It's a global phenomenon that every country is in distress because of the war, because of the post-pandemic, and everybody knows that. He will continue to champion programs that will support the delivery of crucial infrastructure and create jobs and income for the people of Ghana. The president will continue to offer clear vision, a vision of leadership, not that of John Mahama's version of incompetent leadership that was meted to the people of Ghana during his time as a president. That only diagnose problems but seek to resolve them. He will continue to offer hope and the belief in Ghanaian and Ghana as a whole. As Ghanaians, we must not allow our future to be decided by lots of bigot inbreds who have failed to update their politics from the 17th century and who think without them the country cannot survive. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, and this one goes to His Excellency the former President Mahama. If he's listening, I know he's listening. He should take a cue from the like of Shakespeare observed in King Lear, and I know he's a communicator. And I quote him: the unprecedented thief is the one who sees political power as a substitute for welfare. Yes. And I quote Mr. Mahama, Shakespeare is telling us that in King Lear, that unprecedented thief is the one who seeks political power as a substitute for welfare. Let Mr. Mahama take heed of this Shakespearean advice and comport himself in the public discourse or in the public space. Because sometimes when he speaks, he ridicules himself with his own Confucianist utterances, disillusioned policies, and sometimes we sit down and we are like, is it Ghana of yesterday or Ghana of today that he's talking about? In any case, should Ghana find itself at a crossroad, we are not sure Ghanaians will ever need the directionless Mahama to show us the way. Let's not forget, his leadership was the worst since independence. We know better as Ghanaians. And thank you very much for your attention, ladies and gentlemen. Long live Ghana. Long live Nana Addo. Long live fixing the country. Long live the LPP government. Thank you very much.
Thank you.